How do you value real estate? Not housing. I'm not talking about like comps. I mean like commercial real estate. You see, there's this thing called a cap rate, and that is the measurement that people use to find value on commercial real estate, any kind. I'm not talking about skyscrapers. I'm talking about any type of commercial real estate, which there are plenty that are sub $300,000 that lots of people invest and own, and you can too. So how does this mechanism work? What is a cap rate? What does it mean? And what can we learn from it? Let me share an example. You have two apartment buildings in the same neighborhood. They are the same price, but yet one makes you money and the other one barely breaks even. The difference? A number that every real estate investor needs to understand, a cap rate. Now, the formula of a cap rate is fairly simple, and I'm going to go over it, but the application of it is not. I have a love-hate relationship with cap rates. In fact, lots of times I say cap rates don't matter, and I'm going to explain that in the video, because it is true. But it is the language of investing. It's the language that banks use, commercial realtors use, and investors use. So you have to understand it. In its simplest terms, we have net operating income divided by property value times 100. So if I buy a building and pay $1 million for that building's net operating income is $80,000 a year. The cap rate equals $80,000 divided by $1 million, and that equals 8%. This means for every dollar you invest, you should earn 8 cents per year in net income. Or at its current income, it should take you around 12.5 years to recoup your investment. That's easy enough said, but it is definitely not the whole story. Why? Because cap rates range a lot, and how you actually come up with a net income will determine how real that cap rate is. And this is where the rubber hits the road. When you're looking at Class A properties in prime locations and big markets, you're talking about cap rates at like 4 or 5%. Class B properties, let's say 5 to 6 cap. Class C and below, you could say maybe an 8 cap. We generally see like warehousing 5 to 8 cap depending on the location and quality. Retail 6 to 9, and self-storage 6 to 8. This varies widely. I've bought storage facilities and commercial buildings at 8, 9 caps, and I've sold at 4 caps, I've bought at 5 caps. It's kind of all over the board. So just by saying a higher cap rate means a better deal because you're getting a higher percentage return is not only not the whole story, that's not necessarily true. Why? Because a higher cap rate can also mean something else. That nobody wants to buy it, and they don't want to buy it because it's actually going to do worse in the future. So the price is going down low, and I have to get way more income because I don't think that income's going to be there. The other problem that I have with cap rates is that cap rates can be, I don't want to say manipulated, but massaged. At the end of the day, you have income. That's usually pretty easy to figure out. How much are tenants paying trailing 12? What was the revenue? Can I verify it? But with a lot of asset classes like storage or hotels or others, the expenses are where things get fuzzy. Little things can vastly change the price that you're paying. Think about property management. Let's say at one site you have a manager and the other site you don't. Now, you have a site that's net income is $50,000 and you pay a 5 cap for that $50,000. That equals $1 million. But here's the thing. They put in their expenses that there was no labor at all. There was no manager or anything else. Then you have to hire a manager. Now, all of a sudden, that new expense that wasn't included in it drops your net income to, let's say, $20,000. That $20,000 at that exact same 5 cap now makes the property worth $400,000, but you paid $1 million. This is why it is so important to know the actual cost to do due diligence, because it is leveraged as a multiple, like you were buying a business. So little changes have massive consequences on the value of that property. But this is also the beauty, meaning if I can lower expenses or drive income, all of a sudden it is a wealth creation machine. If I can take that same $50,000 that I paid $1 million for and I increase that to $100,000 because I rise net income through occupancy, rental rate increases, and other things, I just made $1 million off that $50,000. It is an extraordinarily powerful metric. But there's also other things that go into it. You see, there's silent drivers of a cap rate. Cap rates don't include things like financing. It doesn't include debt. Why? Because debt is different for everybody. And so you don't really have a universal debt number. Now, there are interest rates, and this is where things get tricky. What we saw over the last 4 years as interest rates rose, cap rates rise with interest rates. Even though it's not included in the cap rate number, that's not part of the equation, investors still have to pay that cost. So they can't buy as much. So what was once a 4 cap is now a 7 cap, which a cap rate going up means values go down because interest rates went up, even if nothing changed with the net income. Because at the end of the day, it does affect how much you can buy and what you have to pay for it. So cap rates track interest rates a lot, like almost exactly. As interest rates rise, those cap rates are gonna rise too. Now this works on the other end, meaning if you're buying a high cap rate and then interest rates go down, you're just magically creating value because the buying pool can now afford to pay more and that cap rate can come down. But cap rates also don't include things like capital expenditures, meaning if you bought a property for $1 million and then you had to put $500,000 into it in capital expenditures, well, that's not reflected in the cap rate, but it's still a cost that you had to incur. And this is why I say cap rates don't matter. What I really mean by that is I would never use cap rates alone. I would only ever use it alongside my cash on cash return, my debt coverage ratio, my internal rate of return, as well as my return on cost, which encompasses all the cost that I have to put into that property. And this paints a wonderful picture, meaning I can find opportunities where others don't. Because sometimes a low cap rate actually has tremendous value built into it that you can go in and change immediately. But the bottom line is the magical cap rate number, what you need to remember. First, cap rates move inversely to property values. Cap rates rising mean property values are going down. That's important. Rising interest rates push cap rates up or properties values down. Use cap rates to compare quality of assets, like quality, meaning what are other properties selling for in those markets, population size, demographics, as well as the quality of a property. A higher quality property will trade for a lower cap rate. So when you're purchasing, you can look at the market and see where that type of property, that quality in that kind of market is trading. It can give you a better idea of about where you should be paying. The next thing to remember is cap rates don't include everything, and you have to evaluate the expenses and what will be your expenses. I don't even take into consideration what the seller's expenses are, except for the fixed expenses that they have to pay. Whatever their taxes were aren't going to be my taxes, because when I buy it, it's going to change. I will operate it differently. So what's important is my expenses, not theirs. Cap rates can help you understand exit projections. You don't want to say you're going to sell something at a low cap rate when a low cap rate isn't logical and will never, ever work in that market. That can really mess up your total returns of what you think you might be able to sell a property for. And use cap rates only alongside your other metrics. This paints an actual picture. Your expenses, your operations, verify income, use cap rates along with other metrics. So I'm curious, if you're out there buying, what cap rates are you seeing in the market? Because they change. And today, they tend to be all over the board with where interest rates are, different types of products, sellers, and everything else. What are you seeing? And what are you guys buying?